Okay, so close up your mask options here, okay, and go to your transform. And what we want to try and do is change the scale of it. So set a scale keyframe at the beginning here, okay. And what we want to try and do is actually, bring this down a little bit so it's quite small, and go to around about 5 seconds into it. No, 4 seconds I would say, because this wants to be quite fast. And scale this right up. Okay, you can hold down your shift key and move it along just to speed it up. Okay, and what we can do as well, when we get to 3 seconds into it, or 2.5 seconds into it, set an opacity keyframe and completely fade it to 0, so it's at the end. So basically it's faded right out. Okay, if we turn off the mask, we can see what we have here. Whoosh. It just fades out like that. Okay, if you want to, you can change the colour. Go to the solid settings if you want. You can actually change the colour of your yellow explosion. So if you don't like what it looks like, you can change it so it's a bit more of a yellow rather than an orangey yellow, so to speak. So that looks probably a little bit better. Okay, so as you can see now, it completely wipes out on the screen. So now we've got our shockwave set up. We can go back into our main comp and go to our project and find the shockwave comp here. Okay, let's just close this down and bring this into the composition. Okay, now, and there we have it. Now what we want to try and do is sort this out. So alt and right bracket, we're going to try and move it into the right time for the explosion. So obviously the explosion happens around about here, so what we're going to do, and we're going to put that below the explosion. What I'll try and do is I'll change the explosion so it's in the centre there. Okay, and just turn on the lens flare. And what we'll try and do is move that over as well. So that it's on the explosion. Okay, so that looks probably a lot better that way. There we go. As you can see, we've got our initial shockwave there. Okay, it doesn't look that great at this moment. What I want to try and see if I can do is bring out the opacity a bit, because it is a bit too powerful. So I'm going to lower that to around about there. You can still see it, but it's not as intense as it was before. So, okay, I'll probably bring this along a bit further as well. That's it. That looks a lot better. Okay, so now we have our shockwave moving out from the centre of the explosion. Okay, so that looks quite good. Right. Now, the one thing that we're missing so far are the clouds. Okay, so what we're going to try and do now is bring the clouds into it. I'm just going to turn this off, and I'm going to turn this off as well, because we don't need these at the moment. And what I've got here is the Earth clouds. So I'm just going to bring these into the composition here. I'm going to move them below the adjustment layer, and we're going to do the same thing we did with the explosion. Effect, channel, set matte, and luminance. Okay, now what you want to do is try and find where the best place to put your clouds, or position your clouds. Okay, that looks quite good. Right, and what we're going to try and do is duplicate the cloud layer. So Control D. Now we have two sets of clouds. Now the one underneath, we're going to highlight the one underneath, go to Effect, Generate, and Fill. And we're going to select this to black. Okay, and then we're going to go to Effect, Blur and Sharpen, Gaussian Blur. And what we're going to do is we're going to set the blur up to about 9%. Okay, and then what we're going to try and do now is move the cloud layer underneath down slightly. Now what you can see is we've got kind of like a shadow from the clouds casting over onto the ground. Okay, so now it actually looks realistic, like they're proper 3D clouds. Obviously the problem we're faced with now is obviously we've got the initial explosion, and obviously the shockwave as well. Hold on, let me just turn that back on. As you can see, the shockwave throws out. Right, and obviously the clouds are staying put. Now, if you've seen any film where you got like a nuclear explosion or an asteroid hitting the ground, what you'll see is a cool effect where the clouds get thrown out in all directions from the intensity of the impact. Okay, so that's what we're going to try and do now. We're going to try and throw the clouds out. Go to the top layer. Let's try and find where the centre of the explosion is. It's right there. Okay. Then what we're going to do is make sure that the top cloud layer is selected. Go to the elliptical mask and bring a mask around the explosion. Okay. Okay, we might need to move it over a little bit to the left. There we go. And then what we're going to do is select subtract. Okay. Now, if you turn this off, you can't really see a problem with it. It's not actually affecting the cloud at all, so you can't see the mask. Okay, so that's pretty good. So I'm just going to turn this on, and what I'm going to do is animate the blast. So if I just turn on the lens flare, so I can see when the initial flash happens. So I'd say around about there. I'm going to set a keyframe here, and right towards the end here, I'm going to put the expansion right up. Okay, to around about there. Right. Now what I'm going to do is bring up the mask feather slightly. Okay, so it doesn't look like such a solid edge. So it fades in. Oh, that's a bit too much actually. That's better. Okay, so as you can see, it's got a very feathered edge to it as the mask expands. Okay, so there's that one. Right. Also, what we're going to do is before we edit this anymore, I'm going to turn the clouds, both layers, into 3D. Okay, so they're both 3D layers. Okay, and what I'm going to try and do now is add to the top one a radial blur. Okay, so blur and sharpen, radial blur. Okay, and we want to change this from spin to zoom. Right, set the amount to 0. Okay, and what we want to try and do is wait until we've got the lens flare at its most powerfulest. Okay, and what we want to do is set a keyframe for the amounts at 0. Go to around about 5 seconds into it. No, I'll say about 4.5 seconds into it, and bring it up to 20. Right. As you can see, the anchor point is wrong because it's right over here. So what we're going to try and do is bring this right to the centre of the explosion. Okay, now it looks like it's throwing out from the dead centre of the composition here. Right. While that's doing that, what we're going to do is transform the clouds as well. So we're going to push them right out. Okay. So obviously we're going to start around about here. No, I'd say about here actually. And I'm going to set a position keyframe, and then as we go right to the end of it here, I'm going to bring it right up to around about there. And what this will do is kind of like scale up the cloud layer, so it looks like it's being pushed outwards. As you can see, it's been pushed out of the composition there. You see, and obviously we've got the problem that now that the cloud is out the way, we still have the shadows underneath. So what we need to do with that is select the radial blur, Control C, select the earth cloud underneath, and Control V. And hopefully this should set the keyframes up as well. Yep, it has. Okay, and what we want to try and do is match the expansion of the position here. So obviously line it up